So day one itself, I'm starting with the test project. Okay. Create a new project. You need to choose this one, right? There you can say N unit. There are testing frameworks should be there. N unit or MS test, right? Multiple projects are there. See, this is unit test framework using MS test. This is N unit. Okay. What is this N unit? This N unit is one of the testing framework where you can write test cases. Okay. Test cases directly we'll write, right? So we'll see how to create a class. All those things from the test case point, I will tell you. Okay. So this option you need to choose. Type N unit here. N unit test project. C#. See, and one more thing, we are using .NET 8.0. .NET 8.0 because they will ask you what is .NET 5, .NET 6, .NET Core, these kind of tasks, questions they will ask. So if you observe this one, right? This application, it is developed in the C#. It is going to be the same code is going to run in different platforms. Linux platform, OS, MacBooks, and Windows desktop. So in all the platforms, right? In all the platforms, the same code. You earlier .NET in the sense it is only they have prepared only for Windows platform. If you create one program in by using .NET framework, right? It will be run only in Windows earlier. But now we are using .NET 8 latest version with the 2022. This also they will ask you in interviews what version you are using. .NET 8. Okay. So what is the difference? Earlier we have see here .NET framework, right? Now see here Playwright test project. This is also one of the new automation tool,
Okay.
right? With the director framework itself, it is provided as a project. So earlier, whatever the code, whatever the program you have written in C#, .NET 4.5 till that point, .NET framework they used to use at the time, the code only runs in Windows platform only. Means Windows based applications, Windows based laptops, Windows based machines only it will execute. But now we are using .NET 8, .NET 5, .NET 6, 7, 8. All these things targeted to, if you write one code in one programming language, that code, that application is going to run in all platforms. Platform in the sense operating systems, right? Windows based application, Windows based laptops, it will execute the same code. The same code, it will execute in Mac OS also, Linux machines also, desktop based applications also we can do, right? So that is the major difference, .NET and .NET framework and .NET 8, right? .NET Core. Initially, they started with, they want to build. Okay, so first we are starting with N unit testing project. So this is one kind of project. In this project, we can write the test cases. Test case is nothing but one function. Okay, one function. On top of that function, it is decorated with test attribute. So that is nothing but test case. Okay. So we are targeting for automation testing, right? So you need to write the test cases. So directly I'm starting with the testing framework itself. So you will be habituated to what is testing framework, all those things. Okay. So what project we need to choose? In .NET, it supports multiple languages. See here, an unit test project using C#. An unit test project using VB. VB is different language, C# is different language. F# is another language. Python also would be there. No, right? So mainly C#, VB, F#, it would be available in multiple languages, right? That's where they created .NET framework. But earlier it is limited to only Windows platform. Now it is there is no limits. It is going to be executed in all platforms. Okay, so I choose that project. So my first test project. So you can recall this, you can watch this video and you can start your work, okay? So what programming language we are learning here? What programming language we are learning? Hello?
C#.
C#.
C#. C#.
See here, C# programming language. Which framework we are using?
.NET 8.
8.
.NET
Version.
8. That is the latest version we are learning. Okay, na?
Okay.
What is the main advantage of .NET 8? It is very, very important interview question. Why? What is the difference between .NET framework 4.5, 4.0, and what is the difference between .NET 8, 6, 5, 6, 8, .NET and .NET framework? What is the difference? What is the difference? We discussed up to now. Just one difference. What is that? Major difference.
It able to work in Windows.
.NET framework, it is up to 4.5, right? It is targeted to work only in Windows platform. So
Okay,
that's where
okay.
Java has major edge earlier. Java program is going to execute in Windows, Linux, all those machines. That is the one main obstacle for .NET. Now they cracked that, right? With the .NET 6, 5.0, 6, 7, 8. So they are targeting written one program. That program is going to be executed in all platforms.
Okay.
Okay, na cross platform. We can say it is a cross platform.
Class.
Right? So now, first thing we are going to learn this is a class file, nothing but this is a class file. So in .NET or any programming language, it depends on the syntaxes. For everything, you have the syntax. If you remember the syntax, you can easily write any kind of things. Right? So you can easily do the things, whatever the things you want to create. But syntaxes. For creating a class, there is a syntax. Syntax, what is the meaning of syntax? Do you know? Syntax meaning is nothing but particular rule, right? If you want to create a class, Hello?
Yes, sir.
Somebody make some money. Okay. If you want to create a class, there is a syntax. Just some rules should be there. You need to remember or you need to practice the rules, right? Always the same rule will apply for the creation of class. To create a variable, there is some syntax. So you need to remember totally maximum 7 to 8 or maximum 10 syntaxes, if you recall. Right? That's it. You learn the C# programming. So any programming language is based on the syntaxes. You should remember those syntaxes, right? Okay. Now, in any programming language, mainly C# is object-oriented programming language. C# or Java, right? These are the object-oriented programming language. Why we said object-oriented programming language? See, now just a sample application we created. What do you see here? It is one class file. .cs in the sense one class file. What do you see here? This is also one class file. Right? Everything is classes and objects. Nothing more than that. So what you should know? You should know how to create a class. how to create an object for that class. While creating a class, how to create variables and how to create functions. That's it. Very simple, right? Creation of class. In a class, what you will have? You will have variables or properties and functions would be there. So if you know this part, how to create a class, variables and functions, that would be good, right? You are ready to start your automation, right? There are a lot of concepts are there, but you should understand this one, how to create a class, how to create a variables and functions, and how to call the functions. You have one class, in that class you have some variables and functions are there. It is going to be used, it is going to be helpful to you, others also. That other person, how he is going to call that function. That's it. So those are the things we should know. Okay. So C# is object-oriented programming language. That means in C# or Java, everything is a classes and objects. That's it. Other than that, you won't see any single thing. Everything is a class, collection of classes. Okay. Now we'll start with what is class and what is the syntax for class. Okay. So public, the syntax always, you need to remember the syntax. This is the syntax. Public, what you are creating a class and class name. Okay, open braces, end braces. Okay. So this is the syntax. Public, class, class name, open braces and close braces. Clear? So this is the syntax. I will ask those syntaxes every day. So this is the syntax for class. So how do you know this is class for this is the this is class? There is a keyword. Keyword is there. Public is the access modifier. Access modifiers we will discuss. So public, class, class name, open braces and close braces. These braces are very important. If you miss one braces, right, then total program will throw the exceptions. Okay. So like this here, if you observe here, we created a class, public, class, class name. My class name is test. Any name you can give. The class name, any name you can give. Your name also you can give, or what is the main purpose of that particular class. Based on the purpose, you can give the class name, right? So that's how you need to create a class. So these are the things you forget. Okay. Now how to create a class? Normal class I want to create. See how we can create the class? Right click and say add. Directly class is there. Okay. Class. So I am talking about employee class. Students, all are students. So my class name is student.cs file. Extension would be .cs. See here, there is a class is created, right? So public class name here. This is access modifier. By default internal. It will come with the internal. Okay. So those access modifiers we'll discuss. We can have public also, right? So public class name. What are the thing I said here, right? That is correct, right? What is we created? Public class name. Class name we can give anything. So I want to describe about a student, right? So in computers, right, we need to store the data, right? That's where we are creating classes, and inside the class we are putting the whatever the data I want to store, I am storing the data inside a class, right? Now, I would like to store some particular student data. What are the things you will store? Anybody can help me?
Name,
So,
address, and everything we have to store.
name
Address,
and C#, right? Automatically it will suggest you. What is the name you want to store?
anything.
Rakesh is the name, right? So another name I want to store. See, C#, what you are trying to do, next thing, it is automatically, it will think because it is supported by AI and automatically it is suggesting you. You just need to tab like that. But we are not going to do that. We are going to learn from the very basics. Okay. Now I want to store name and I want to store address, right? Hyderabad. And I want to store what I want to store. Name, address, and city or salary. Okay. So like this, if I want to store some data, how do you store? You need to create a class. Inside the class, what are the data you want to store? You will store here. Okay. But for example, you are taking your mobile is a one device, right? So you want to store some movie. Is it going to occupy memory or directly whatever the things you will add, it will automatically take it? You have your mobile device. Mobile also will have RAM, all those things, right? Memory would be there, right?
Yes, yes,
So if you are storing one movie in your mobile device, is it going to occupy memory or not?
yes.
Right? So any data, they must occupy some memory, right? So how much memory? Now I want to store Rakesh. I want to store Hyderabad. I want to store his salary details. But every variable, these are this is the variable and this is the value. Variable and value. What are the if you want to store anything, where do you store? In variables. That is the concept of variable. Okay, if you want to store something, right? I want to store my name. I want to store my designation. I want to store my address. I want to store my salary details. All those things I want to store. So if you want to store, where do you store? First, you need to create a class. Inside the class, you should have some variables. In that variables, you are going to store actual data. Okay, that is the concept of variables. What is variable? Variable is nothing but it stores the data. To store the data, we are going to use variables. Directly, we should not store the data. Rakesh, Hyderabad, 5,000. Who will understand what is Rakesh? Rakesh is it is a name, address, these are things, right? So now every variable or every value must require some memory. Yes or no? It required some memory. Every value, each and every single value you want to store in the system, it requires memory. Is it clear? So how do you know? Okay, this one, how much memory? 8 bits of memory? Might be. Ikkada 16 bits of memory? Might be. Might be here. You want, how much memory you want here? Might be 18 bits, 16 bits of memory. Right? Like this, we need to mention, right? So this guy will take 8 bits of memory. This guy will take 16 bits of memory. This guy will take 16 bits of memory, like that. So how do you know the calculations, all those things, right? So instead of doing that, what you can say simply, you can mention the data type. Based on the data type, it will, okay, each data type will occupy some memory. You can understand, okay, I am using this data type. Okay, this will occupy 16 bits of memory. But if I am using other data type, like int or something, it is going to occupy 32 bits of memory, like that. So instead of mentioning, okay, I need 10 bits of memory or 16 bits of memory, 1 byte, instead of doing that, we are just using the data type. For example, here, okay. Here, I am using string, okay. It is a number. When you are using numbers, you should go for int. These are the data types. Okay. So this is how we need to create a variables, right? We discussed now about variables and data type, right? Why the data type? You got it? Arshia, why? What is the need of the data type?
To store a memory.
To store that value, it requires some memory, right? So how much memory you want? To tell how much memory it requires based on the data type, you can understand. String in the sense, it is 32 bits of memory, right? Int also the same, right? But the data type, it would be decided based on the value, right? So based on this value, we need to tell, okay, this is the string data type. If the value is in double quotes, if the value is in double quotes, we should have what data type it is? String. If the value is number, the data type would be integer, int. Okay. Okay. Sometimes whether that one particular pass, the student is passed, is he passed or not? Okay, I want to store true. Yes, he passed. I want to say this kind of statements. I want to store this kind of. This is also right? So what is the data type? If you want to store true or bool, right? Okay, Boolean data type. It is a different data type, Boolean. It stores only if you store true or false, these two values. The value is here true or false, right? At the time, you will go for Boolean. Okay, bool or Boolean, right? So that is the one data type. Okay. Now, always only these are these kind of data only we are going to store. Sometimes I may say my salary today earning something variable. In this, I want to store 5,000 rupees 0.50 paisa, right? This kind of decimal data also I want to store, right? So at that time, you can use float. Here, if you make any mistake, it will tell you. It's formatting. Right. Here, the keyword, that key. Okay. Okay. And one beauty of C# is, if you don't know, you just put the tab, automatically it will do for you. For example, you want to create a variable. So you didn't recall how to create a variable. Just to start, okay, I want to store name. Sometimes it will give the IntelliSense, it will suggest you. That IntelliSense is there with the C#, that is not there with the Java. Okay. So these are the data types. These are the main data types you should understand. String, int, boolean, and
Float.
float. All these things are not required. Okay. Float. These are the data types. So string, int, boolean, float. Did we miss anything? Short. Short is one data type. If the number, you want to store the number, but small number, 1, 2, 3, and characters also. So you want to store
Cat.
grade, right? What is the student grade? One
Yeah.
character. See here, I didn't say anything. It is automatically came. I just created grade. Okay, grade, A grade, B grade, like that. It would be there. You just need to press on the tab. Automatically code will generate for you. That is called IntelliSense. Automatically system will think what you are thinking. What you are trying to do, next step, automatically it will suggest you. Then you can just press on the tab, automatically it will be created. Okay. So these are the data types we discussed. Okay. What is the need of the data type? First of all, you should understand. What is the need of a class? You want to store something, right? You want to create a program. Everything you should write. You should not create anything. If you want to write single line also, where you will write? Inside a class. First you need to create a class. Inside that class, you can start your program. So here, why I used variables? What is variable? As per our understanding, up to now, whatever the discussion we did, I'm stopping this one for some time, recording, so we can discuss. So based on the data type would be decided. ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి వాల్యూస్ ని బేస్ చేసుకొని ఇక్కడ ఆ వాల్యూ డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో పెట్టా, అంటే డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో ఏది పెడితే అది డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో పెడతాం కాదు. మీ నేమ్, మీ అడ్రస్, మీ విలేజ్, ఏదో ఇట్లాంటి డీటెయిల్స్ మనం డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో పెడతాం. ఏ డేటా అయితే డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో పెడతామో దాని డేటా టైప్ స్ట్రింగ్ అంటాం. ఓకేనా? ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ హైదరాబాద్ డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో పెట్టా అడ్రస్, అది డేటా టైప్ వచ్చేసి స్ట్రింగ్ ఉండిద్ది. నంబర్ పెట్టాను, జస్ట్ ప్లెయిన్ నంబర్, దాని డేటా టైప్ ఏముంది చెప్పాలి?
Int.
Int, sir.
ఇంట్. నేను ట్రూ కానీ ఫాల్స్ కానీ స్టోర్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నా,
Boolean.
బులియన్ డేటా టైప్ వాడాలి.
Or bull.
రైట్. లేదు నాకు డెసిమల్ నంబర్, అంటే మధ్యలో పాయింట్ తో ఉండిద్ది నంబర్,
Float.
దాన్ని ఫ్లోట్. లేదు నేను ఒక్కటే క్యారెక్టర్, ఏ గ్రేడ్, బి గ్రేడ్, సి గ్రేడ్, డి గ్రేడ్, ఏదో వచ్చింది ఆ స్టూడెంట్ మార్క్స్, గ్రేడ్,
Character.
దాన్ని క్యారెక్టర్. సో ఈ డేటా టైప్స్ మీకు తెలిస్తే చాలమ్మా.
Okay.
ఈ డేటా టైప్స్ ఎందుకనే క్వశ్చన్ రావాలి మీకు. ఎందుకు నేను డేటా టైప్ పెట్టాలి, ఎందుకు పెట్టాలి? ఇంత మెమరీ, ఈ వేరియబుల్కి ఇంత మెమరీ కావాలి, ఈ వేరియబుల్కి ఇంత మెమరీ కావాలి అని సిస్టమ్కి చెప్పడానికి. ఈ డేటా టైప్ బేస్ చేసుకొని సిస్టమ్ విల్ అలొకేట్ ద మెమరీ ఫర్ యువర్ డేటా.
Then.
గాట్ ఇట్? అది డేటా టైప్. సో వేరియబుల్ యొక్క సింటాక్స్ ఏంటి ఇప్పుడు ఎవరు చెప్తారు? సింటాక్స్ హర్షియా, సింటాక్స్ ఫర్ వేరియబుల్స్. Arshi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What is the syntax for variable?
Data type,
Very good. Data type. ఈ డేటా టైప్ అంటే ఈ స్ట్రింగ్, ఇంట్, బులియన్, ఫ్లోట్, క్యారెక్టర్ ఏదో ఒకటి. ఇది ఓకే. డేటా టైప్ స్పేస్
variable,
వేరియబుల్ నేమ్,
space variable.
వేరియబుల్ నేమ్. ఓకే. ఈక్వల్స్ టు సమ్ వాల్యూ. ఇది సింటాక్స్. గుర్తుండదా?
Yes, sir.
ఈ సింటాక్స్ ఎండ్స్ విత్ సెమీకోలన్. ఎవ్రీ వేరియబుల్ షుడ్ ఎండ్స్ విత్ సెమీకోలన్. ఇది వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేయడం సింటాక్స్. దేనికి సింటాక్స్ ఇది?
వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేయడం.
వేరియబుల్ క్రియేషన్ కి సింటాక్స్. క్లాస్ కి సింటాక్స్, క్లాస్ కి సింటాక్స్
Public class, class name.
వెరీ గుడ్.
Public.
పబ్లిక్ క్లాస్ నేమ్,
Yeah.
బ్రాసెస్. ఇది
Braces.
బ్రాసెస్ స్టార్ట్
Open.
అయింది.
Braces
ఓపెన్ బ్రాసెస్,
end.
క్లోజ్ బ్రాసెస్. సో ఈ బ్రేసెస్ మధ్యలో ఉన్న డేటా మొత్తం ఎవరిది?
క్లాస్.
ఆ
Student.
స్టూడెంట్ ఇది. ఏ నేమ్ అయితే ఆ క్లాస్ నేమ్ ఏమేమి ఇచ్చామో వాడిది. ఈ డేటా మొత్తం ఎవరిదంటే ఆ పర్టికులర్ స్టూడెంట్ది. అదనమాట. ఇది ఇంపార్టెంట్. నేను ఒక్కసారి ఇది లేపేశాను అనుకోండి, చూడండి ఏమైందో. ఒక్క బ్రేసెస్ మిస్ అయితే ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎర్రర్ చూపించింది. కంపైల్ కాదు, రన్ చేయలేవు. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ కూడా రెడ్ మార్క్ ఉంది. అంటే మీరు ఆలోచించాలి, ఏదో మిస్ అయింది. చూడండి ఇక్కడ లైన్ కూడా, ఇక్కడ లైన్ ఉంది. ఈ లైన్ కిందకు వచ్చి అక్కడ ఎటువంటి బ్రేసెస్ లేదు ఎండింగ్. సో అది ప్రాబ్లం.
Oh.
అర్థమైందా? బ్రేసెస్ అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఒక కర్లీ స్టార్టింగ్ బ్రేసెస్, ఒక ఎండ్ బ్రేసెస్ మధ్యలో మీరు రాసుకోవాల్సిన డేటా పెట్టుకుంటారు. ఓకే. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఫర్ టుడే. మీరు ఏం చేయాలంటే రేపు నేను వచ్చేటప్పటికి ఫస్ట్ 5 minutesలో మీరు ఒకళ్ళు స్టూడెంట్ క్లాస్ గురించి రాయండి.
Okay.
స్టూడెంట్ క్లాస్లో ఆ స్టూడెంట్ యొక్క డీటెయిల్స్ యూ నీడ్ టు స్టోర్. డేటా టైప్స్, వేరియబుల్స్ కదా. ఇవాళ మీకు అది తెలిసింది. వేరియబుల్స్ అండ్ డేటా టైప్స్ మీకు తెలిసింది. సో బేస్ చేసుకొని మీరు కొన్ని క్లాసులు, మీకు వీలైనన్ని క్లాసులు క్రియేట్ చేయండి. ఒకళ్ళు స్టూడెంట్ గురించి రాయండి. ఒకళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే కార్ క్లాస్ గురించి రాయండి. రైట్. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఎనీ ఫంక్షన్స్, జస్ట్ వేరియబుల్స్. ఆ కార్లో ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? కార్లో టైర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, కార్కి వీల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, వీల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, కార్కి బ్రేక్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇట్లా ఈ డేటా. లేకపోతే నాలుగు కార్కి ఎన్ని వీల్స్ ఉన్నాయి? 4 వీల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మీ ఇష్టం వచ్చిన డేటా యూ నీడ్ టు క్రియేట్ టుమారో.
Okay.